Welcome back. They say wearing school uniform and a badge brings a sense of pride, creates an identity for a school and a sense of belonging. Wearing a school uniform, this is according to a teacher, is halfway there to being respectful and buying into what the organization is all about. Is there any science to that? In America, the majority of schools do not have a uniform. Approximately 160,000 children miss school every day due to the fear of attack or intimidation by other students. This might not be directly linked to what they're wearing, but having a uniform can be a safety net for learners who might otherwise suffer from bullying, they say. A strict uniform gives the impression that rules are too strict, perhaps helping maintain a sense of order at school. But do uniforms instill a sense of discipline within the school, with school-going children? We are joined from Pretoria now by the President of the National Professional Teachers Organisation of South Africa, Mr. Basil Manuel. Very good morning to you, Basil. Thank you for being with us today.
Pleasure to be with you.
Basil, school uniforms instill discipline. That is the most unscientific thing I have ever heard. Would you agree with me?
In part, I don't think it instills discipline. It certainly aids discipline. And in many schools, you need these aids. There are many things that create discipline, but certainly it's not the only issue. And so on that score, I would agree with you.
What's the significance then of school uniforms in the South Africa of today? Is it still relevant? Is it not us yearning to a colonial past?
I think we need to contextualize a number of things. Number one, school uniforms aren't compulsory. It's the governing body decision to have a school uniform or not. In most cases, I think there's a tradition of wearing a school uniform, and very few governing bodies have applied their minds to whether it is a necessary evil or not. But certainly, having been a head of a school myself, I can tell you, and of a primary school at that, it certainly aided in certain things, particularly when we took 70, 80, 100 children out on an excursion. It gave a sense of identity. It was a sense of protection because this was an inner city school where hundreds of kids walked to school and they identified with one another. And the community assisted in ensuring that kids who were not towing the line were brought to book because they identified with the uniform. But the uniform is not the beginning and the end of everything. Schools will certainly cope without it. At the moment, yes, if you suddenly don't have a uniform, there would be a change in behavior. But then that would settle down too, because people are accustomed to certain things at the moment. That certainly doesn't mean that that is the only thing that works.
Basil, how long have you been a teacher?
31 years.
And is it today, do we have the worst, most ill-disciplined children today in your history in 31 years as a teacher? Is that accurate?
No, certainly not. I think our children are different because they're exposed to different things than to the child community of, let us say, 20 years ago. It's the media, it's so many things that have changed. And that is like it has always been. Every few years you will see children changing. It's happened since the day of Adam. So it's untrue that we have ill-disciplined children in their large masses. Communities have changed. Inner cities have changed. Communities have different sets of values. And because the school system doesn't adapt as quickly as the community around it, there is this perception that we have the worst of the worst today. But I want to debunk that myth. What I am saying is that there are more schools with problems because communities have evolved differently around those schools.
Basil, you give us hope. Thank you very much for that. It's so nice to hear from an educator. Normally when I speak to educators, they tell me children come with knives to the school. There's no fence around the school. The gangsters come onto the school. And all these are the things that I, as a journalist, am faced with every day. So it's wonderful to hear that it's not really as bad as they say it is. Let's move on then. I want to talk quickly about affordability with you because uniforms, no doubt, are becoming unaffordable simply because, well, monopolies are running a racket. Cartels are running a racket in the uniform business. Do you agree with the statement that it's becoming a little bit unaffordable?
I will say that uniforms have become far more expensive. But I think one of your previous guests indicated that it all depends on the design of the uniforms and the type of uniform a school wants. If you look at boys' uniforms as an example, they're more or less generic. All schools wear grey pants, basically white shirts. Others wear maybe blue or yellow shirts. So you'd find that boys' uniforms are far cheaper than girls' uniforms are. But then it's those add-ons that make the difference, the jackets and so on. So yes, it is a costly exercise, but the question is whether if you are comparing fairly, are you really saying that a set of uniforms is more expensive than a set of clothes bought to the same extent?
Yeah.
And I believe that, in fact, it wouldn't be necessarily all that expensive. But I would also say that most parents would say, thank heavens there's a uniform. I don't have to dream up what my child must wear. I don't have to have this battle of wills between that is appropriate and that is inappropriate to wear. And certainly, I can tell you that the teachers at school say, thank heavens there's a uniform for that very reason.
Surely.
Because it takes away having to fight about something not as significant as the schoolwork of the day.
Basil, shouldn't we be teaching our children at home to go to school to learn and not to be a fashion model if we had to ban the uniform? Surely that could help. It works pretty much everywhere else in the world where it's implemented.
I can't agree more. I actually agree with you. But let's look at the history in another facet of our community. Let us go to the universities, where most people dress very casually. But there you will always have that element, as you yourself would know, of people who think it's a fashion parade.
Yes.
So because we are individuals, we'll always find that happening. Those kids pressurize their parents. They, in turn, pressurize the other children. I'm not an advocate of uniforms, but I certainly appreciated it as a teacher, and certainly as a principal I did too.
Basil, very refreshing talking to you today. That's the President of the National Professional Teachers Organisation of South Africa, NAPTOSA, Mr. Basil Manuel, coming to us from the capital, Pretoria. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Now, of course, we're asking you the question, why? Why are school uniforms still necessary in modern-day South Africa? It's a fair question, we think, to ask. It's on screen. You guys have been tweeting us. You guys are very into this question by the look of it. Let's have a look at what you guys are tweeting us to. Well, what are the latest tweets with regards? Well, as we're getting our next guest ready here behind me, working studio, that's what it is. Let's just have a look at what Justin Townsend tells us. Justin says, so you want to highlight inequality in schools? Will you be buying my son a 2,000 rand pair of trainers because his friends wear some? Well, you should teach your child not to want to wear that because his friend wears it. Justin? Kololo says, Newsroom, taking away uniforms will expose financially weak parents. Uniforms create standard, don't compare third world to first world. Okay, interesting. Mokhobo Tahani says, Newsroom, my children are more enthused to go to school in Civies days. Free the little ones from the uniform to promote their individuality. Thank you, Mokhobo. Very enlightened view there. Tavanda Wyson says, Newsroom, Lebogang and James, spot on. Education should deal with the mind, not with clothes. Otherwise, dropouts will increase, says Tavanda. Then Anderlex comes, he says, Newsroom suppliers should be challenged with competition. These monopolistic, exclusive suppliers are a rip-off to poor parents. Yep. Keep it coming at SABC Newsroom. That's where we want you to send us your contributions on the show. Those are your views. Should we just drop the school uniform? Is it becoming unaffordable? Are monopolies putting a gun to our heads with the prices and forcing us to go to their preferred suppliers who then inflate prices? Well, these are fair questions. Now, according to financial planners, research indicates that the cost of raising a child here in South Africa averages around 90,000 rand per annum. Yes, that's for all of us, 90,000 rand per annum. That does not take into consideration inflation or growth. The costs could escalate to more than 2 million rand if the same child is taken care of by parents until the age of 23. Now, a word of caution to many parents is think before starting a family, and a financial plan is crucial if you're going to have children. Now, to talk about the cost of raising a child in the South Africa of today, well, we are joined